Hello. Hello, chat. How are we doing this evening? What up, Spicy Pretzel? Hello, welcome in. Bit Posh Pub, thanks for the follow. I'm Just Blue, thanks for the follow. That's interesting you say that, Roach. Quite interesting. Hmm. Anyway, um, we will do regular pre-chat chats. I have that Beetle drawer out. However, I know you guys like weird stuff sometimes, and today I have weird fruit. Um, we had new paper towel background. Um, we have a tree out behind work with this thing, and this is called a finger lime, but also a caviar lime. And so we shall show you why it's called that. Uh, inside, inside it has all these little pearl thingies. Yeah. They are Australian. Yes. It's citrusy. It just has, it's a citrus flavor. It's really nice actually. I like these a lot. They're like the little poppy bobas in your mouth. But the crazy thing is that like that whole that whole pod that I had um is like full of these things. My boss brought one in and was like, "Oh yeah, have you had one of these yet?" And I was like, I'm like vaguely aware of them, but I didn't know about that. Glacial Nikki, hello. So this is like the crazy part. I'm just gonna squeeze down on it now. And they're just like all of these little fruit balls. I thought these were crazy, and in hi mom, hello. But I thought in J7, what's up, Liz? Hello. Um, I thought to start your spooky Halloween season off correctly, I would tell you a horrific fact, and that is that the juicy parts inside of citrus, so like all of those little strands and stuff that you see in oranges, and all of these little pearls that you see in here, are actually hairs. So when that fruit is developing, it starts off, and all of those things are just like little single strands of hair that swell. And so that's always been a thought that I've had about citrus since I took a plant taxonomy class. Um, and it's always just kind of, I wouldn't say ruined citrus for me, but I think about it every single time that this happens. Yes, Nikki, happy birthday, by the way. So that's weird fruit. That was odd bit number one before Beetle starts. And I do have another oddball specimen that I think you guys will probably like. And we're going to need this because it's wet. They have finger lime mango flavored go-gurt. Whoa. That's crazy, Roosh. Australia sounds awesome. Weird Explorer on YouTube goes around and tries fruit. I would love that. I don't think I'm familiar with that channel, but I'm going to check that out for sure. Okay. So, this is also weird thing. Um let's let's focus it down. We kind of got a weird thing going on. Hi Tortilla. Angel hair pasta. I don't know if you'll be saying that after we learn about this. So this is a bug. Um, this is the top. You can't really see a whole lot, but if we go ahead and flip it over, we've got a secret child underneath. So Roach clocked this immediately. This is in fact the poop baby. Uh, so this is a tortoise beetle larva. The head is facing up right now. The butt end is obviously facing down, and Chandler would like this bug, Vic. That's so real. Um, and so the strands around it are what we lovingly call a fecal shield. So you can see down here, if I move this one strand out of the way, that all of this is still attached. Oh, I'm sorry, J7. I just took it out of a vial. I have a couple of them here. So it just came out of alcohol. That's why it's wet. They're actually usually quite dry. Um why can I turn this up every damn stream? It never stays. Okay. Um yeah, so it all stays attached and it poops out in these long strands. Uh and it makes this like bird's nest thing. It looks like uh that weird nest that we looked at a little bit earlier. Um, but these were cool. I was going through material earlier, looking for an old vial of things, and I was like, oh, I haven't shown this on stream yet, and I think they would probably like it. So yeah, it makes a nice little nest out of its poop to kind of protect itself from above. Um, One, it doesn't look like an insect, so predators would have a harder time finding it. But then two, uh, there's poop. So if anything wants to get to it, it's going to have to chomp off this big nest little layer of poop first. And yes, he does have little suction cup feeties. Noomba Nation horsehair worm. No, not this one. I do. I don't know where it is. I do have one of those though. I found it in like a little tide pooly thing in Arizona, and no joke, it went from the tip of my middle finger all the way down to the crease of my elbow. It was so long and just kind of squiggling there in the little remnant of water. Um, so I do have a cool horsehair worm specimen around here somewhere, but it's probably still downstairs in the freezer. I'll have to think about that. Who? Roach doesn't like worms. I'll let her know before we do that. If we do decide to get the horsehair worm. But that was Funky Larva number 1. And then I also have Funky Larva number 2. Baby golden tortoise beetles. Yeah, glacial. So this is specifically Hemisphaerota cyanea, which is the Florida blue tortoise beetle. Um, and that one is actually pretty important to me. Uh, Mom Tomology is still here. I'm not sure. Um, we went on vacation one time. We went to Aruba as like a graduation from my master's uh, present. And she told me, she said, "You're not going to be looking for bugs the whole time." And I said, "Well, maybe not the whole time, but I'm going to try." And so I went across the street at our resort and I found tortoise beetles. And I went, "No, Roach." That's my nagging voice for her. Um, no, it's not. I'll be honest. It's not how mom tomology sounds at all. Um, but she was like, "Yeah, you can't go collect bugs the whole time." And I said, "Well, we're gonna try." And so I went across the street, and there were these little palms that had these tortoise beetles on them, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of neat." They looked exactly like the ones that I had seen and that I remembered from living in Florida. So I was like, "Okay, cool." Took some pictures, went back to the hotel room, and lo and behold, there were no records of that species in Aruba. I checked a bunch of different databases. I checked all the literature and everything that I was finding was saying no, that beetle is only found in the southeastern United States. So then I was like, well, maybe I'm just misidentifying it. And so I posted a couple pictures in a group specifically about tortoise beetles. And even like the US expert in the group was like, "Yeah, I think that's what that is. Those shouldn't be there. You need to try to bring specimens home because that is a pretty crazy range extension." And I was like, "Well, shit. I wasn't allowed to go collect." Mom, you're ruining the story. But yes, it is in fact that one. So, I didn't have permits, and you got to do everything above board. You got to do everything as you're supposed to. I didn't have collecting permits because Mom Tomology uh, said I wasn't allowed to collect bugs the whole time, so I was trying to respect her wishes and not do that. Well, now that I have something that I like have to bring back, we spend the last day, we take a taxi down to the government building, and we sit there for several hours filling out paperwork to be able to bring specimens back. And then we get to the airport, we're coming home. They do not give a single shit about my papers. And that's frustrating because we spent so much time trying to get those papers ready. Um, but I did end up getting a publication about it from a family vacation, which I think is pretty fun. It was like an 1,800-mile range extension, and the best we could figure out is that since it was planted, it was like a resort area. Um, those beetles were probably on the palms that got sent there to landscape the place, and that's just how they got there. I didn't have time to like really search or check the rest of the island or anything, but I was like, hey, just so you know, these things are there. And now it's crazy working for the government. Um, Tie Dot, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Princess Chomp, we've got bugs. You found a giant leaf-footed beetle. Excellent. Um, I don't have any leaf-footeds readily available. Um, but yes, we got papers and everything. I got a publication out of it, and it was Princess Chomp. You did it! You hit the magic number. $500 followers. Yeah. I spent so long setting that up. I knew it was going to happen today. So we got some stuff going. Another one. Wet Slim Pickle is here? Our boy Wet Slim Pickle? Welcome in. Mapwa as well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Princess Chomp, thank you for the sub. Whoa. Thank you for the gifts, too. The more that I'm looking at this, it might have been a gender reveal party popper. Thank you, Princess Chomp. Thank you for the follow. And thank you for those extra gifts. I had to rig a thing so I could pull the light cord from my desk. All right, I can take that off now. Wet Slim Pickle. It is truly an honor. Thank you. Thank you. And thank all of you for being here. I was looking back at my stats. I started streaming in August, and already having 500 followers is kind of crazy. Um, thank you, Tortilla. Thank you, thank you. 3-foot straw you drink from the couch. Sick. Love that. But yeah, you guys have been excellent to me over the past few months. I'm really enjoying getting to do this with, extra stuff besides Pickle, so kind, so kind. Um, yeah, and it's been kind of fun exploring the different ways that we can do this with the microscope and everything. How different it can be from the normal Alveus streams. Um, Not that chat chats are going anywhere, but far from that. But yeah, it's just been really nice. You guys have been super super supportive. Even the several of you that don't know the Alveus starting side of this and had just kind of found me naturally. Yeah, it's been pretty special. It's been pretty special. Well, now that I got confetti all up in my beetles, let's return to odd beetle number 2. This one is another funky larva that I just happened to find in the freezer when I was looking for something else. I know what they are. Princess Chomp. Horseshoe crab. We'll allow you to say that, Princess. um, this is not from a bathroom. This is from a scummy pond. um, Odd Beetle sounds like a lesser known Marvel superhero. Well, there is an odd beetle. Um, how do I don't know how to show my screen without like fucking everything up. So I'm just gonna send you the bug guide link, and you guys can look at it on your own time. This is not what we have in the scope right now, but this is a different thing that is actually called the odd beetle for Renshaw there. It's a dermestid, so it's like a carpet beetle, but the males are super skinny and have like really weirdly long legs and like small elytra, and the females are almost larviform. So it's a whole crazy thing. Um, took the alien from Alien and Predator series and bred it with Alien, made it flea sized. Um, you know, I can see it. So this came out of a scummy pond. Not necessarily scummy as in like bad, but it was like an industrial pond in like a bunch of middle of like an office park. And the only reason that I was collecting at that specific location was because one of my students had found a beetle family there that I had never seen before. And I was like, "Are you sure this is where you found it?" And she said, "Yes." So I was there, I was scooping pond scum trying to find these little tiny itty bitty beetles. And those of you that have been around for pre-chat chats, you've probably heard this story because they were in the other drawer, not the one that we're currently working on. And so I went to go find these beetles specifically, and I scooped this thing out of the pond water. And turns out we also have seen the adult of this thing before. Do you guys remember haliplids? They were the little kind of oval aquatic beetles that had those really big plates underneath their thighs, or like where their thighs should be. These guys. This hairy thing is the larva of the haliplids. So I thought that was pretty sick. Obviously, I've collected the adults a lot before, but I had never seen the larvae, and I also didn't know that they looked like this. Um, I don't know, though. I don't think so. I don't know why it's like this. I can't think of like a purpose that this would serve. Um, but it does kind of look like the alien. I think part of that is the way the alcohol is reflecting. So if we would just entertain for 1 second, we can dry it off just a little. And I don't think it's quite as alieny anymore. They just want to have long hair. Yeah, this is it's got the mullet, business up front, and like the party all the way down the back. Oh, that is kind of bad, Tort. That is a bad thought. Um, but yeah, I don't know why they have these. It it lives like down in pond scum, and so I don't know how many predators there are. I don't know if it uses that to like hold on to uh hold on to like sediment and debris and things like that, that would allow it to camouflage a little bit better. But it wasn't like totally covered in gunk when we found it either. I mean, it is got some sandy. It's kind of sandy, but it doesn't have. It's not like holding tons of material like you would expect if this hair was specifically for holding things onto the body. So yes, this this is weird larva number two, and that one belongs to Haliplid, one of the crawling water beetles. And now I can actually do some more with alcohol specimens because I finally was able to get my hands on some 75% ethanol in my little squeezy bottle here, in my koozie that says keep your udders covered, because I got this like 10 years ago from the UF Dairy Club. But got my little squirt bottle back so I can refill my little tiny vials to put beetles back in them. So we will have a much easier time actually looking at stuff that's in alcohol because I can fix it. When we were going through some of that other stuff, like the big weevil larva that we looked at like a couple weeks ago, I had to take that back into work to to make sure that I got it filled back up again. So now we're good for probably quite a while on ethanol. So that's exciting. We're able to check that out, and that'll also kind of move us in different directions in terms of stuff we can look at here under the scope. Okay, well, now that I don't have to worry about the 500 follower celebration, let's dig into what we usually do for name him Harold. Yeah, we can name him Harold if you want. We finished Ladybugs. Yes, Ladybugs proper, but we have two more families. We have two more families in Ladybugs in the super family for Ladybugs. Um, oh, actually, you know what? Sorry, I lied. I have one more thing before we move on to that. So, obviously, it's Halloween. We have Roach. I got bad news for you, friend. Weevils are the last thing. Weevils are quite literally the last thing in the drawers. So we have got 2.5 more drawers of stuff to go to before we get to Weevils. Best 500 follower celebration ever. Hey, it only happens once. Am I right? My problem now is when we hit 1,000. Uh, I've already blown the bit, as it were. Um, anyway, as it is Halloween, my place of business does a Halloween door decorating contest. Now, I am not artsy, but I am an ideas guy for people who are arts. Uh, well, that's. I got confetti in my iced tea. Hi, Murray. Hello. McLarge, what's up? Um. Anyway, I'm an ideas guy. I can't do the art, but I got ideas. Thank you, Tortilla. And so my office mate, who is actually super artsy, J7, oh, thank you, thank you. I gave her this idea. She ran with it. And, well, so the Princess Chomp, my whole office is bug guys. I oversee a collection with probably like 25 staff, and we've got 13 million insect specimens. So bugs are not the novelty that most people think they are in my place of business. But my office mate, great artist. And so she had something made up. And actually had two of them printed. So I have one that I'm going to frame and put somewhere in the background. We'll have it in the stream room. And then we have another one up on our office door at the moment. So, a horde of giant beetles straight from the ground. So there's me looking wistful up at the top. There are two giant ground beetles. One of them, going after eating my office mate and then my bosses and stuff and a couple of other coworkers down here at the bottom. So very sick movie poster um, that is based on the 1954 movie called Them. But in the movie, the giant bugs are ants. Um, I do not work on ants. I am a ground beetle guy, and so that's why we replaced them with the giant ground beetles. But this thing is so fucking sick. It's like it's phenomenal. Um, and everyone came by as we hung it up today and was like, "Whoa, whoa, that's crazy." Princess, I had nothing, and I mean nothing, to do with this. I gave my office mate the idea. I was like, oh, that poster would be cool because like ground beetles have the big mandibles, kind of like the ants do. But she drew this over the weekend. I was getting updates, and yeah, this is that thing. But again, I I did not make this, but I am very excited to have this. So it will be going up in the stream room here at some point. I just have to get. Oh, thank you, princess. Don't make me blush. This will go up in the background somewhere once I get a frame for it. So that was truly the last thing before we get into the regular Beetle ID parts of pre-chat chats. All right. Yeah, can you believe it? I've also only known them for like 3.5 months. I started this job in mid June, and then I was away for a month, and then I came back. So it hasn't been very long. And so to whip out something crazy like that, I couldn't believe it. I knew she went hard for door decorating because I had seen what she did last year, but I didn't know that I was going to be on the poster. So it was a huge surprise. Not total surprise because I saw the progress of it, but um, she added me after the fact, so I didn't actually see the fact that I was on the poster. And then seeing it full, she texted me the picture, and it was like, yeah, okay, that's awesome. But seeing it actually like blown out full size like that, um, was super super impressive. Can you send me $10? Uh, maybe. I don't know how giving chatters money works. That's backwards of how Twitch works. Okay. So, last week we talked about ladybugs and all of the ladybug relatives. We have two more things, and these are going to be uh, also ladybug related, but I kind of teased what we think about. I teased what these look like with that last ladybug that I showed you last week. That was the least ladybuggy ladybug that any of us had ever seen. Can we talk about Asian ladybug I got bit on or peed on? I don't know which one. Yeah, we did talk about that last week. We can do the quick recount or a quick recap is what I meant to say there. Um, Ladybugs and lady beetles, same thing. Everyone thinks that the Asian lady beetle is not a ladybug, or it's like somehow a fake ladybug. That is not true. It is fully a ladybug. It is non-native to the U.S. So if you're in the U.S., it is a non-native species, and it does actually displace native species of ladybugs. So it is a problem for native ladybug communities. Um, and because of that, people encounter them more often. I don't know glacial. I get misinformation, like always, and like calling them something slightly different. I don't know, kind of it others them. Like, oh, well, I like ladybugs except for that thing, so I'm gonna call it something else. Um, but the big thing with the Asian ladybug or the Asian multicolored lady beetle or harlequin ladybug, whatever you want to call it, Harmonia axyridis for specificity, it is really a ladybug. And the reason that people dislike them, or at least one of the reasons, is that they will congregate together in large groups inside over winter. Native ladybugs, some of them will do that as well. But the Asian ladybug also has a little bit of a stink to it. And because they are probably uh, the most commonly encountered species of ladybug now, they are not more likely to bite than any other ladybug because anything with a mouth can bite. But because people are encountering them more often, they feel like they disproportionately bite more than regular ladybugs. If that makes sense to everyone. So yeah, that was our recap on Asian multicolored ladybugs. But at the very end of stream, I said, it's going to piss you guys off. Let me show you this really crazy ladybug that they found in Southern California. And it was maybe the least ladybug